Hey guys, welcome to Chill Chats, where we're going to be discussing the world's political, social, and economic issues. On this week's episode, we're going to be exploring whether or not Australia's laws are too lenient on our criminals. The basis of it is that it's not the fact that these people were caught or not, it's the fact that they're actually doing it and they know they can do it because they can get away with it. Like I read recently that a maximum, so like a criminal can steal up to $500 worth of value, and if they get caught, they get fined $500, but they don't get any criminal charges put against them. Like that sort of thing is an issue.
The problem with putting criminal charges on someone for that is you can ruin their life, and then it just spirals them into like the same habits over and over again. Because if you just every time someone steals something off, like, I don't know, $500, like you said, if you keep fucking like penalizing them with criminal fucking records, how they're ever going to find a job? And then you end up spiraling these poor cunts into a fucking like that's actually a pretty fucking fitting punishment. If you steal something worth $500, you pay $400, and not only that, but if best case the person you stole it from gets the item back, and on top of that you pay $400. So it's like a pretty good punishment in my opinion. Think about it.
Nah, the issue is that gives them like an incentive to steal because, say for example, you steal $500 and don't get caught, you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and then if you don't get caught, you get money. If you do get caught, you literally just have to pay it back. Like, what's the negative outcome here? It's like a win-win scenario. It's not.
Yeah,
You
it
know what I
is.
mean?
I mean, but how do you steal $500? That's pretty fucking hard to do.
It's not
From who?
specifically $500 in cash, but like, say for example, you steal a phone. So
Oh, like
yeah, or you go shoplifting at a store and you start just stealing clothes, stealing whatever it is, small electronics. I'm not sure if that's an actual like real law. I just read that online somewhere, but if that's true, then that's an issue.
yeah. Well, I mean, it depends. Like, yeah, how they stole it, like what the item was exactly, and if the you can't. The thing is, with giving someone a criminal record instantly like that, the thing is, the second you make something like formal like that, it sticks to you for life. But like, there's probably right now on your driver's license, you probably have all the demerit points you have lost on records. You know what I mean? The second you start recording stuff like that, especially criminal charges, they're going to keep going down the same loop. Like someone that's already got a criminal charge, let's say he stole 5 iPhones in like over 4 months. If you have like now criminal charges for all these fucking things, when you go for a job interview or something, that'll pop up probably, or a police background check, or especially for certain types of jobs. Like I know for Uber drivers, they have to do like a police background check. It's almost it just
But what is wrong
locks
with
you in.
that? Why should we not punish them?
Well, you should punish them, but it's just how hard do you want to punish them, and what are you trying to achieve? Okay, let's say you punish someone, right? You send them to jail, right? Like a person that does drugs or sells drugs. You send them to jail. They meet people in jail that do similar things and end up finding another group of people there that just exponentially like propel them down a worse path in life.
No, I don't think so. I think if you send someone to jail, obviously depending on what the crime is, like in my opinion, it shouldn't be just straight to jail, but like there has to be more serious sentencing. So in that scenario, if you do send someone to jail, the idea of them getting influenced by other people around them, yeah, that might happen. But what's more likely going to happen is, look,
Death,
no,
death.
no, think about it. Think about it. Like, let's say you got the next 6 months of your life just gone to waste, and you hated it. Like no one's gonna like jail. Like,
Yeah, I guess
it's not meant to have fun.
drug dealers aren't as bad. Like drug dealers will probably go to jail and be like, "Fuck this shit. This is not worth it." But like someone who's like a murderer, let's say, or a killer, for example, they have to go to jail.
Without a doubt, yeah.
They have to go to jail without a doubt. But then
Yeah.
it's a very difficult topic to discuss because, okay, let's say you kill someone, you murder someone, right?
Yeah.
Definitely, first reaction is fuck that person, send them to jail for the rest of their lives. They can get fucked. You know what I mean? But the system here is not so much the case. Like you can kill someone and get 20 years, essentially.
No. Like in Australia, you get like people who get charged for like manslaughter. They get out after like I'm pretty sure it's like 4, 5, 6 years. Like you're killing someone. You're taking away someone's entire life, and all you get punished for is 4 or 5 years. Now I'm not saying it's going to incentivize people to go and start killing people because it's only 4 or 5 years. But like, look aside from murder. Just think about just general crime, like whatever it may be, violence, stealing, theft, that sort of thing. You have sentences that are just way too low, if any at all, um, and that causes an issue because you have a population who starts to think that oh, it's okay to steal, or it's okay to do this because why? I'm just going to get a slap on the wrist.
So you see, yeah. So of those who committed a murder, 100% received a prison sentence. That's just like obvious. With an average minimum term, sorry, of 20 years. So your minimum term you can probably get is 20 years, which, to be honest with you, isn't that much.
Um,
It's a lot of time, but
no, that's probably more. Yeah, it is like a universal um, like sentencing, but I'm pretty sure it's like I'm not sure of any specific cases, but I'm pretty sure.
this is New South Wales.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
kind of
Like, do you have that article that we recently saw, um, or any sort of thing that we can pull up, just to go off it?
of someone that got a
No, not
sentence.
necessarily a sentence, but like no, no, like we just saw these articles, because all these articles of people committing crime, and the question is why? Well, why do they keep caught? Like the crime rate is just going up and up and up. Like in my area specifically here, um, I heard every week there's a break-in, there's a house break-in, or there's a car break-in, and it's only going worse and worse. And I don't live in a bad area, so the issue it's getting worse and worse, and the question is why.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, Australia definitely is very lenient on fucking the citizens here. Punishment, that's for sure.
In my
Then
opinion,
it's only serious at the same time.
like like the way I see things, um, it should be a lot more severe than it should than it currently is. Like if you commit a crime,
Yeah.
you like regardless of what it is, you have to be punished. It's a similar thing to how we're raised. If you do something as a child.
I think the main thing that you want to discuss here is murder, something like that. Because people that do, like, I don't know, sell drugs
No, no, no.
or do
I don't want to go into
hit
murder
and run.
because murder's pretty clear cut case. You like, and
Nothing
they do
else,
get punished.
nothing else is really. The thing is that every other crime that you can do is the punishment is very well covered already by, like, the justice system. There's millions of things you can read, and it goes into hell intricate detail on how someone should be sentenced for such a mediocre crime like selling drugs. The only types of fucking, like, criminal acts that get people really aggravated by the sentencing is mainly murder, like, or those type of things, like physical harm or violence. Because other stuff people get sentenced for, no one really cares about.
But that's
Let's say for example, I sell like 50 grams of fucking, like, 50 kilograms of meth, and I get sentenced to like 10 years jail. Everyone's gonna most people will say that's pretty justified. They'll say, okay, that's fair enough. They'll just move on, whatever. He will learn from his mistake, and he'll just fucking jump back. He'll come out of prison. He might do the same thing, or he might learn from his mistake in prison and go, fuck, this is horrible. I'm never going to do this again. It's not worth the risk.
I'm not
And
talking.
people,
I'm not talking
no
about
one,
extreme cases. Like, let's talk about your average person out in the streets. Um, not average person, but your average criminal. Like, they're not going to deal 50 kg of meth. It's more like small dosages and petty crimes.
what type of small crime would you consider like that needs to be,
Like
that currently
simple.
the current
I'll,
system needs to be changed?
all right, I'll give you the perfect example. So, do you remember that story I told you how my car got broken into last year?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I tell you that I'll summarize the scenario. So I left my bag and my phone, work bag, which had my phone, my laptop in my car mistakenly. Because I didn't know. I was naive. I didn't expect it to be that bad, and I only left it for one night. Like typically, I'd always just bring it into the inside of my house, but this night I forgot it in my car, and my car is parked outside because the other garage was used. So it's like out in the streets, and this was like a Friday night. Saturday morning, wake up to see my window smashed in and my bag stolen. Um, so essentially, yeah, they stole everything: the phone and the laptop and the bag, every contents inside of it as well. And then a week later, I get a phone call from my oh, so I was at work and I get a phone call from the police department. They're like, yeah, we've got your phone here. Come collect it. I'm like, well, that's strange. So I go to the police department and they tell me, oh, some guy came in. He wanted to
Mm-hmm.
return your phone because he purchased it off Gumtree or Facebook Market or whatever it was. Now,
Yeah, okay.
I was like, all right, well, this guy, he stole my phone and he put his name up on Facebook or Gumtree, and the guy that bought it from him, he obviously knows his name, right?
Yeah,
So I'm
but
like,
here's the thing, though.
and
You
hold on,
get fake.
let me finish my story. So I get the phone back. I'm like, all right, so now your next step as the police is to go and capture this guy because you now know his details. And you know what they tell me? They're like, nah, we're not going to pursue it any further. I'm like, why? Because the guy that bought it off him, surely, because by the way, he returned it because the phone was locked. He couldn't access it, so he just returned it to the police because he got scared. But like the
Yeah.
guy that bought it off him knows the guy's name, knows where he lives, knows where everything, and they didn't want to pursue it further because they were like, oh, some privacy issue. It's only if the guy that bought it wants to like raise a like a criminal charge against the guy who sold it to him, which is the thief. So in the end, I got a phone, and it was like smashed and broken. It was like not even usable at that point. And then I couldn't get a hold of my laptop back, and the thief walked away freely. So what does that mean? So the police
Yeah, that's
the police knew the guy's name, they knew his location, and they didn't want to pursue it, and I couldn't do anything about it. So now, from the perspective of a thief, um, look, I'm a thief now. I just stole a bag, I stole a laptop, I stole a phone, and I got no punishment. What am I going to do? I'm going to keep doing it because the police aren't going to stop me. And so,
I guess you put it that way. I mean, there's probably all kinds of little fucked up shit like that people get away with. To be honest with you.
yeah, but
The thing is, you need proof, I guess. And the thing is, in your circumstance, if if there was a person that bought that item off this person, went to his house, met the person, got a name, whatever, even if it was a fake name, the fact that he knows where the guy lives,
exactly, that's the
that's
issue.
just enough evidence
But that
to
I'm talking about
definitely,
the police here, and they didn't do nothing. So the issue
yeah.
is the system that we have. It just doesn't punish them. If anything, it incentivizes them to pursue more crimes and actually just commit more crimes. Um,
Yeah,
and in
right,
my
actually.
opinion, in order to actually solve this issue, is like press harder. So they had the guy's name, they had his location. Literally, go take him and put him in jail. No, maybe not jail instantly, but like, let's say you give someone a warning at first or a fine. The second time they do it, I reckon straight to jail, 3 months, 6 months, whatever. Because once you start punishing people, I guarantee you,
Yeah,
it'll have a positive effect.
here's the problem.
Yeah. What's the
Here's the
problem?
problem. Problem with something like that is the evidence. If you had a video surveillance of the person breaking into your car, 100% they're fucked. But the issue with what your thing is, if it really went to court, and if it really came down to it, the person that sold him the iPhone could just argue that he also bought it off someone before, realized it was smashed.
Well,
And there's always,
in that
you can just,
scenario,
it's all word of mouth. That's the issue. And then if the police are going to chase after every single little fucking nook and cranny of someone stealing something without hard proof evidence, they're going to end up fucking going around in circles and talking to 50,000 people. That guy that stole your phone, even though he sold it to that guy, if the police came to his door, he'd say, "What phone? What are you talking about? You can't
yeah,
come in here without a person.
yeah, like
Can't do this."
I sort of
But
agree that we don't have we might not have the resources, but
the only way the police will help you, honest to God, in that situation is if you have a hard evidence that he stole it.
no,
And that is literally.
I honestly, like, I don't know what more evidence you need from the guy admitting that he bought it from the guy. Like, I think the issue, to be honest, it's not a resource issue, it's not an evidence issue, it's just a lack of punishment. Like, like we have to the solution to this is to instill fear into the people. Honestly, fear is the only way, and the way you can create fear into the minds and hearts of people is you punish them. You give them the idea of punishment. If you do this,
I agree.
you're going to suffer.
Yeah, I agree that obviously if someone does something wrong and you punish them adequately, they're not going to do the same thing again. Or on a general level, they're not going to do the same thing again
Exactly, but we don't do that
unless
here.
they
We give them a slap on the wrist and off they go. And that's why you have so many crimes around this country who just go unnoticed. And people, like, let's be honest, walking in the streets at night, you shouldn't have to feel fear. You shouldn't have to be scared of walking around at night, but we do.
Here's the thing, Mason. Though the problem is what we were saying is like it comes down to the evidence. It's because with your situation, although it may seem from a human level like a very easy fucking like you've got him. You know, this guy bought the iPhone off this guy. He sold it to him. Obviously, 99% of people will go, okay, probably most likely that's the person that stole your phone. The problem is without the hard evidence, there's too much word of mouth, there's too much hearsay, and if the police keep chasing stuff like this, it'll literally be chaos.
It will.
Because there's so many incidents like this that can't be proven without hard evidence. You're going to end up having all these little fucked up situations where the police are going to have to chase up 40 different people, interview 40 different people. There's just not enough resource for it.
I sort of agree with what you're saying, but
Because if you're gonna, then there's so much. I could now literally, if I got my phone stolen, just point a finger at someone in this instance, and say, "Fucking, I don't know. This guy has a phone similar to mine. The police go investigate it. This guy over here was near my house at the time. Go investigate him. This guy here." There needs to be that fucking like
Yeah,
bulletproof evidence,
but
that like video recorded evidence of him. That way, he just
but
quickly shuts the
we
door.
have to be realistic in these scenarios. You're not going to have perfect video quality of every person committing a crime, but the fact is there is crimes going on where there's constant car thefts, there's constant house break-ins, car break-ins, crime all over, right? I'm not pointing it to be like some dystopian country where it's just crime everywhere, but there is a high level of crime and it is increasing. So there is a problem, and yes, the idea of it being chaotic when you can try, like as a police trying to pursue it, it may be the case, but at the same time, how come it exists or it doesn't exist the same in other countries where laws are stricter? I'll give you the perfect example. So you know how I lived in Qatar for 2 years?
Yeah,
Now some people may backlash and say that Qatar's laws are too strict, too violent, whatever it may be. Um, but it's the safest country to live in, or one of I think it's voted the first or the most safest country to live in the world, or second most safest. Now, walking in the streets, you'll never feel fear. Like I'd walk around at any time of the night and wouldn't even bat an eye. Like I wouldn't even look around. I wouldn't feel cautious. It's not the same here. Like if you go to the city at night, you have to like keep eyes behind your back. You don't know what's going to happen. Like you know what I mean, right? Like it's
problem is Western cultures, especially. There's the element of freedom, which is I can do what I want. I'm a grown adult, and
but
that allows
at what cost
to.
though? At what cost? I'll continue the example. So in Qatar, I think I told you this story. Um, it's safe to the point where you can leave any valuables exposed anywhere on a bench in a cafe, and no one will take it. And it's not because people are generally nice and whatever. I don't believe that. I think it's purely because of the fear that the government has instilled into them. If you commit a
But
crime there,
that
you
right
get
there,
severely
that
punished.
level of fear is a dangerous. It's a very dangerous game you're playing because the second, and we talked about this before, the second you as a civilian start giving up more and more of your freedom and allow the government to instill more and more fear into you by giving you harsh penalties for doing things that aren't necessarily bad, like there are certain things. For example, I would say, for like, I know you don't agree with me, but like smoking weed every now and then isn't an inherently bad thing to do. But if you allow the government, and especially in Australia, to make it illegal and treat you like a bad person for doing a thing, you're taking away one of your freedoms away. And obviously, it makes the streets safer. Like, well, weed is probably a bad example because most people don't do anything stupid on weed unless you get into a car and get into a car crash or something. But like, the more you give away your freedom for safety, the more you end up in this very corrupt and like totalitarian society because you're leaving all these decisions to a select group of people. Like, why do these people in the government get to decide what me as an adult can do with my body, my children, or anything like that?
I agree
Like,
with what you're saying, and it opens up a can of worms.
for example, your point is good. Like, I know what you're saying. If you suddenly make, if, for example, stealing something means you get your hand cut off, like in the medieval days, someone steals a loaf of bread, they fucking put his hand on it and they chop it off. Everyone's gonna fucking see that, and you could put apples and bread in the middle of the fucking street, and no one would even bat an eye at it. People would be too scared to grab it,
to to
right?
to be honest,
Point.
right?
How much do you want to give up to protect your like private property and all that? It's there's levels to it, man. And Qatar, although it is like a rich country, and fortunately enough, it has the minerals and resources to be that way. But if it didn't have the minerals and resources to be that way, and if it didn't have all the fucking success up until what it is now, and the
I
geographical
I
location that it's in, I guarantee you, man, that they would not be in the position that they're in right now. You have similar situations in the country.
no, I definitely agree in that it obviously when you have a better economy,
Exactly.
you're able to spend more on safety and security and all that sort of thing. But it's not the root cause of what makes the country safe. Like I'm not even joking here. There was a point where I was at a petrol station. I'm not even joking. Qatari citizens, they pulled up next to me, and it was like I don't remember. It was either I'm pretty sure it was a Rolls Royce, and it was two guys, a Rolls Royce on one side and a Corvette on the other side. The guy in the Rolls Royce literally opens his door, key in the ignition, car on. He hops into the guy's Corvette, so his mate, and they drive off around the block, do a few laps. And while they're driving around in the Corvette, the Rolls Royce is parked with the key in the ignition just on by itself. Now, can you imagine that happening in not just Australia, but any other country in the world? Like there's a reason why that happens. It's extreme, dude. You leave your wallet on the floor here. You look away for 2 seconds, it's gone. Like that's how untrustworthy people are here. I'm not saying everyone is like that, but there's a reason that happens. And no, like let's be real, Qatar doesn't actually cut off hands. But yes, I agree. The laws are extreme. You can get deported quite easily. You can go to jail. You can get like
And that's,
in trouble with the
that's
government. And
a problem
yes,
because although everyone is rich and has nice cars and everyone can do whatever they want without the fear of it being stolen from them or fear for their safety, that amount of control from a government body, man, it breeds corruption. It's only okay if you're in that top 5% driving the Rolls Royce. But there are people in
no,
Qatar that don't.
I disagree because
And they get,
anyone in Qatar walking the streets at night will feel safe, and and
no, but I'm
no one will
saying,
complain about that.
mate,
Whether you're the top
those guys,
percent or the bottom 5%, anyone has that freedom of feeling peaceful and feeling safe and secure. And that's
yeah,
yes,
the
it comes
cost.
at a what is the cost though? So your argument is that laws control the people too much, right? So it takes away people's
No.
freedoms.
My argument is this: people will just naturally corrupt themselves if they have given enough power. So if you're going to suddenly give a government body enough power to decide X, Y, and Z, and I don't know how extreme it is in Qatar. I've never fucking been. I haven't researched what the laws are like there or anything like that.
Pretty
But
extreme.
if you're going to give that government or that body that much control over your life, it most of the time in history doesn't end well.
But you have
It
to
doesn't end well. To
evaluate
give
evaluate the situation. It's like I get that they're controlling and whatnot, but evaluate the situation. Would I rather have slight freedom? And it depends on how you view it, whether it's freedom or not taken away from me. At what expense? At the expense of me having a panic attack if I leave something in my car at night here, or me being fearful of walking in the streets. Like you have to weigh it and determine, what's appropriate.
Yeah, I guess I know what you're trying to say. It's like where's the middle ground?
Where is the middle
Where,
ground? And
how much freedom do you allow,
yeah,
and how much do you take away to
and
control the balance?
your
Because
argument of
if you don't, if for example, and the thing is, if you go the inverse effect and you suddenly just remove all laws and people can do whatever the fuck they
it's
want, it'd be
complete
absolute
anarchy.
chaos.
Exactly.
It'd be anarchy. People would be fucking raping each other outside, stealing from
Oh,
Woolworths and
it'd be
Coles,
horrible.
running rampant and shit. It'd be an absolute nightmare. So to an extent, you're right, but I think you're going on a very extreme level. I think there's certain things that Qatar's definitely got right, or whatever. All these countries that have more stricter laws, and I think there's a lot of things Australia has right.
No,
But
without a
it's
doubt, of course.
you got to be in that middle ground always, because if you go too far either way, you get anarchy. You
Yeah,
either get an anarchy government body that's corrupt as all hell, and only a select few people make decisions based off fucking their own benefits, their own interests, or you get the opposite where everyone is just fucking going running rampant and doing whatever the fuck they want, and it's getting out of control.
and I guess that's the basis of this argument. Yes, there has to be a middle
I
ground.
think Australia has done a good job. If anything, the only thing Australia is lacking is punishment
But
based off like or like fucking national like issue. Because like for example, if it's a very sensitive topic to discuss, but like punishing Aboriginals for certain things, they don't they normally get away with things other people wouldn't. Mainly because of the fact that obviously we invaded this country, we did all the fucking things we did. But there's a lot of like that
and I don't agree with that. But
apologetic nature.
but it's like the way I see it. Yes, it does happen. But there's no governing law. It might be like a little bias that the government has, but there's no actual law that dictates that the Aboriginal people are let off more easier. But it does happen. It does happen. And
For
but the
example, look
argument
at
is
things
regardless of what race you are, what culture you come from, who you are, the middle ground is not there. It's too much to the lenient side. And I'm saying it needs to be pushed further
no,
left.
I'd say it's very based on cultural fucking issues, man. Like, for example, like how much like backlash do people get when a person of color, let's say, fucking commits a crime, and if it's not justified, people lose their shit on the sentencing.
No,
It goes out of control,
you're
and
pushing.
it always gets thrown out to racial.
No, that's an
Just
that's
racial.
an American issue. That is something that's
Yeah,
irrelevant to
that's
Australia. Does that? I don't think
and
that.
our would be similar. For
It
example,
actually did
that
happen. Actually,
we watched,
I remember this happened
that,
for Australia.
that video that we watched of that mum being attacked by that lady with the two kids in
Yeah,
the pram.
yeah,
Pram.
yep.
I guarantee you that child, the 15-year-old Aboriginal lady that did that to the mum, will literally get a slap on the wrist, and she'll be walking away from that as if it never fucking happened.
Yeah. So
You won't even.
let's actually go through what happened. So there was this article where a mum walking a pram, in some park or some local area got attacked by two teenagers who were
One,
Aboriginal descent. Was it one or two? It
one,
was
one
one.
female.
And did she get robbed?
I don't know if she got robbed. There's a video of it, but she's
Yeah,
struggling, pulling her hair.
yeah.
The
And this is a mother with a pram, so like, it's pretty extreme, to be honest. You have to be pretty low, like in your life's values, to attack a mum carrying children.
at
Um,
someone walking to a bit
yeah.
fucking random. And not only that, but it's like, what is the outcome of this? Like,
To
you
be
know what I
honest,
mean?
I don't know what the outcome was, but you're right. It is possibly it is possibly reduced based on the fact that she's Aboriginal. Um,
Of course, it will.
whether that happens or not frequently, it's I don't know. But the idea is, regardless of who you are, whether to be honest, whether she was uh, of like a white background, Asian background, African background, it doesn't matter what she was. I reckon, regardless, they wouldn't have punished her enough. And then these people will keep doing these things because it's like you said, it's a slap on the wrist. It's literally a slap on the wrist. We don't get punished enough, and this will continue to happen.
I, don't know, I honestly think Australia has done a pretty good job there finding that middle ground. Personally, I think it's actually we're pretty lenient on some things, but at the same time, there's pretty harsh penalties that you can get.
But would you? I'm not sure about your area, but in my area here, um, like I said, crimes have gone up. Now, would it not be better, obviously, in an ideal world, where these crimes did not exist? Families in homes here do not have to fear that their home is going to get broken into, that their cars won't get broken into. I mean, why does
There's
this have to exist?
balance. Okay? For example, there's a balance because what you're saying right now is 100%. I agree with you, but the only way you make that 100% is if you literally. This is what you do. When someone robs a house in a certain suburb, you pull that person that robbed the
Yeah, you
house into the
punish them.
middle of the suburb. You pull that person in the middle of the suburb of that area, wherever it be, and you literally like either kill them or punish them or cut their fucking something off, and all of a sudden, I guarantee you, what you're saying will come
I'm
to.
not advocating for extreme. That's like extreme. And yes,
But that's not the way.
that would
You want,
definitely no
you
yeah.
want an extreme outcome. That's an extreme outcome. To say that you want people to never worry about like parking their Bentley with a key in it, like that's an extreme outcome, man. You have to do some extreme shit to get everyone on the same
Well,
page. Like
it's
stealing.
not because it works in other countries. It's not like we have like killings for committing crimes in Qatar. You either get
But
like a jail
here's
time or deported or that sort of thing. Like there are
there's
situations where you can fix it without going to the extreme measures.
a lot of things to take into account because looking at Qatar, population density isn't that high. A lot of
Oh,
they have a lot.
it is.
Wait, let me finish. They have a great economy. They have a lot of resources, right? You go to a country that's overpopulated and you have all these other problems that are going on, and then you go, I want to feel safe all the time. And I want to be able to leave whatever the fuck I want, wherever I want, leave my wallet on a day. It doesn't work that way because the more people there are, the less opportunities there are for certain things. And more people are going. There's going to be a higher unemployment rate if there's more people in a high dense
Yeah,
population.
I agree. It's
All the factors that affect your opportunity or ability to have a
I agree.
safe.
I agree with a country that has
It's
less.
hard to make an example because it's hard. You're talking about a country that's fucking like rich as rich, man. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
like
no, yeah, I agree because most of crimes occur due to poverty and stuff. So obviously,
because
yeah. No, I can see
like
where.
think about India for example. It's overpopulated as fuck. Look at the slums in India. You will never ever get what you're saying there because until you fix the economy there, until people are on a certain level of quality in their life, you will
Yeah.
never ever get that fixed. And the only way you fix that is like through hard punishment, through extreme punishment.
So
You need someone
what is
you
the
need
solution then?
to place up and like whether that involves like reducing the population somehow. Like it's brutal. Like if you allow it to happen, allow it to grow to what it's grown to now, it's very difficult to bring it back to what you're saying without installing extremist fucking like
Yeah.
insane.
All right. No, I also agree with that. So again, what is the solution? Like, is the well, we have to find a problem first. So, what is the root of the problem? Is it poverty? Is it wealth? Is that the issue? Like, yes, most likely the case. It is that the poorer generations or the poorer people who are in poverty-stricken areas, they are the ones who commit these crimes, whether it's theft or violence or whatever.
Yeah,
How do you fix that? And again, it's like people who are not as fortunate. It doesn't justify a crime, and you find a lot of people who are less fortunate don't commit crimes. So committing crimes, you can't justify it by being poor or whatever. So how do you fix it? Like, to be honest, in all honesty, Australia is one of the most well-off countries per capita. I think like everyone's got heaps of privileges. Um, economically, financially, we're all generally well off. Not well off, but like we've got food, we've got
Yeah,
shelter, we've got everything. So it's
that's
no, there's no excuse. There's
for the current for the current level that we're at, like as a human civilization, or like globally, I'd say Australia is definitely is on the right track of getting it right, of getting like punishments and how to deal with these certain situations is probably the best way, because
then
can't you can't, I don't know, it's a difficult one, man. Like the thing is, we're here, we're very low like there's no
we are
population density.
privileged. We are very privileged, and yet crime still
There's
happen.
work here. Like if you want to find work, there is work. So you have responsibility. That's another thing. So you have not just wealth, but you need responsibility. Because, for example, if you hand out paychecks to everyone and give them thousands of dollars, people will still commit crimes because they're bored and they'll do stupid shit. So it's a combination of wealth and responsibility. You need a low unemployment rate, and you need wealth on top of that as well. And then on top of that, you need like families. You need people to have kids and have families and actually stay in those families. Once you combine all those three things, your crime rate will just drop naturally because
Yeah, it's
people have a responsibility in their life. They'll have family to take care for, and on top of that, they'll have a decent sum of wealth so they can take care of themselves. They don't need to fucking like go and take someone else's stuff. But the problem with that is, man, is like this is like Thanos level shit to do something like this. You need to almost tell people to stop breeding and have because they do continue growing the population in certain areas. You're just going to feast off each other and create this fucking chaotic environment. That's really what it comes down to. It's easy to follow the law when your life's in check and everything's going well and you got a fucking job and
yeah,
you got kids.
that is a very good point, though. To be honest,
You've had good parents. You've been raised in a good family. You
it is a
fucking
good point.
dad. Your dad was responsible. Your mum was responsible. But it's hard when you fucking grow up and you're born into a family that's fucked. Your mum's a meth head. Your dad's fucking
In all
away.
honesty, yeah, but this leads to a whole another can of worms, and it's
Well,
like
that's
a
what
whole other point of discussion. Which
punishment. It's not even about punishments to fix crimes. It's more so about finding that balance
so maybe
of
it isn't
is
punishment,
there,
maybe it's something else,
yeah, is there enough things to do, and is the economy strong enough to sustain these people?
or is it
And
a
that's
mix
all.
of things? Yeah,
That's why Qatar does so well, man, because the economy is strong enough
yeah,
to sustain the people.
that's what I'm
It's not
starting to see now. It's the economy might have, not might, it probably does have some factor involved.
because punishing people and expecting them to just go like for a drug addict, man. You punish drug addicts, bro. They're just gonna spiral down into fucking more and more issues, man. These people are already mentally ill. They're already sensitive. Like you can't just go, okay, this person's a drug addict and he sold drugs, and then you catch him doing that. You send him to fucking jail. Now his mental health spirals out of fucking control. He's even more desperate for it than he ever was. He gets somehow his hands on it inside the prison. He comes out with more connections. He ends up being more fucked up than he ever was. Same thing with most crimes. So punishing people at a more extreme point is not going to solve this problem at all. What's going to solve this problem is literally having, I don't know, almost
I don't
more.
think there's a simple answer to this. It's more like a double-edged sword, and you have to find the
more
right
it's
balance
honestly,
to
but life, you roll the dice, bro. Literally, you're born into a family. Imagine, okay, me and you think we're fucking like privileged, right? We have a good family. Okay, now imagine this: you get born into fucking Bill Gates' family. Boom. There's like a whole another. There's levels to it, man. There's extreme levels to this, and it
yeah.
really just depends what you're born into, and that's who you'll
And on
become.
the other spectrum, if you get born into like a very poverty-stricken family, yeah, maybe the
You can
option of
put it
of
down to
crime is probably only option to survive. Yeah, I can like,
exactly.
yeah, I think there's just
You can
multiple
bounce back.
factors at play.
People do bounce out of that situation, but it's very rare, man, and that's what it is. It's
Yeah,
like it comes down to honestly
uh,
overpopulation, not enough responsibility, and then the family like bond breaking apart. If all those things are in check, you won't have any criminals, man. And that's why I think, like you said, Qatar, they have
economy is also a big factor. Yeah, yeah,
they have all that in line, and people don't mind, like like Qatar, man. Like no one's going to steal like like you said, a Bentley or whatever, because it's not they're not desperate enough, man. Like the people there are comfortable. Like I wouldn't even steal one, bro. You know what I mean? Like me and you wouldn't do it. For example, if someone parked a Bentley in the middle of the street, I wouldn't fucking take it. You'd be out of your depth. I steal it, man.
to
Like
be honest, like
you know what
I,
the risk is. My life's pretty good, right? Why the fuck? If I have a good life, my life's like average. Like I'm not rich as fuck. I'm not anything
yeah, we're
special.
average, bro.
But
We're
why the
average.
fuck would I throw all that away for a Bentley? You know what I mean? Like it's not worth it, man. And that's what it comes down to. That's why I'm not a fucking person or criminal, and you're not a criminal. But for example, let's go another way. This Bentley is my ticket out of fucking like out of a hellhole. It's my way out of this whole fucking area that I'm in. It's my way out to escape off my family. It's my way to buy a nice house, get the fuck out of here, and like set myself up in life and get an education and all that. Imagine you're thinking like that.
Yeah,
Fuck,
I agree with that, but I'd also don't, because then you're justifying crimes with poverty, and it's like, no, your morals should take precedent over this.
it's
You know, your morals should override your urge to commit crimes. It's more of like a lack of morals that humans have, or let's say
hard to have
humans.
those build in you, man. They're like, who are you going to learn that from? Most criminals don't have good families, bro. So
Yeah,
where do you learn?
but I guess I'm pretty sure humans have a general moral compass, and we should know
Nah,
right from wrong. You should know that stealing or harming someone else is wrong.
nah, I wouldn't say so. I'd say if you put a kid or just a newborn baby and raise them with a bunch of savages, bro, the baby will fucking kill you and not even blink twice.
Yeah,
It all just
it's
depends on.
upbringing as well. Yeah, there are multiple factors at play, and this argument can keep going and going and going. But it seems
So I
like
mean, what we started off with this conversation was, either is leniency, are we too lenient? And if we punish people more, we will get some. Like you said, you'll achieve the same outcome, but at what cost?
yeah,
So you get what you want, which is a safe environment. People will be scared shitless to fucking even like make a noise. Like at the end of the day, there's pros to that. If you look at it from just purely like
but it's
put it on
not just
paper, these are pros.
yeah, but it's not just that aspect. Like we said, I think there's a lot of other factors: upbringing, economy, uh, that sort of environment that you're living in. It all has a population as well.
So
Yep.
the problem with doing it that way, which is brutally punishing people, is it breeds corruption, man, and it breeds a top percentile of people that control a large percentile of people, and you never really want to have that. Even though, to be honest with you, that's how the world runs anyway. I guess
Yeah.
like it's just that's just naturally how it comes out to be. There's a certain percentage of people in this world that make decisions like, and we just go ahead and follow it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fucking what's his name? The guy that owns Apple, I don't know his fucking name. Steve Jobs is dead now, but whoever took over him afterwards, he releases a new iPhone. Everyone's going to buy an iPhone. He makes a decision to release one. Everyone fucking runs to the market and buys one. Like, he controls the market. And
Yeah, you get that sort of government control, which you're right, it does really happen on
the
a
only way
global scale.
to really solve it is to like, and another thing you got to
there is no way to solve it. There's no one answer. I mean,
yeah, there's no one answer. Another thing you need to throw into this is cultural aspects, because like what people might consider wrong in our culture is not necessarily considered wrong in another culture. So like, hard to have a multicultural state like Australia and all of a sudden have everyone behave the same way and follow a certain fucking legal system, because there's heaps of legal fucking shit that in other countries are fine to do, and here is absolutely whack. Like it's out of like you would never consider it to be like something that's everyone just walks past and thinks it's normal. So I mean, that's another issue as well, man.
Yeah. Like I said, there's just so many factors. There are so many factors, and there's no simple one solution. You're right.
Exactly. And it does come down to that. It just comes down to those three things. Responsibility in your life. Do you have something you're passionate about and that you're responsible for? Whether that be something that's personally valued to you. Do you have a good family? Is your family strong? Is your bond between your family good? And is everyone fucking happy? And do you have a role model, essentially? And the third is, does your responsibility give you a decent enough fucking paycheck to be able to live your life comfortably without wanting to fuck?
Yeah.
We're a good example of that. Me and you aren't by any stretch of the imagination sort of rich, but I would never steal that Bentley.
Yeah.
I would never. It would never. But if someone parked up a Lamborghini on my fucking driveway, put the keys in, and said, "Here, this is yours, bro. But if you take it, good luck." Like you might get away with it, you might not get away with it. I'd turn around and go, "Cunt, I'm not doing this, because what am I really doing here? I'm throwing away all the pros that I have. I have a responsibility that I like. I've got a good family, and I got a paycheck. And I'm going to throw that away for a fucking little cash grab, which I can end up in jail for with a criminal record. Fuck myself sideways.
Yeah. There's so many variables at play.
It's not even harsher penalties. You need to fix that.
Yeah.
But how do you fix that?
It's a mix of everything. On honestly, it seems like based on what we discussed, it's a mix of everything. There's no one solution. But yeah.
But that's like it is with everything, honestly, man. But like that. Problem with it is like it's impossible to fix. The only way to fix it, honest to God, man, in a very extreme way, is to reduce population down. So there's only enough people to do X amount of roles, and it fits it perfect. There's no one on fucking government paycheck.
Yeah.
There's no.
That's the ideal world, bro. But nothing is ideal in this world.
Yeah, and it's just tight.
How's
and then
that for a quote?
That's what I'm saying. And I think honestly, another way you could do it in school. Honestly, in schools, why don't they teach family values in schools?
Yeah,
That'd be a good. That'd be
education is another factor we didn't go through.
why don't schools have a I don't know a semester in year 12 where they teach you how to take care of people and like I don't fucking know like how to have a responsibility and how to have a good family. Like how good would it be in school if they teach you how to be a good dad? Although it might seem weird in the moment, you'd be like, "This is fucking weird." I'm in year 12. I'm a kid. What the fuck are they teaching me how to be a dad for? I guarantee
I would have thought that's weird.
you would think it's weird, but it would at least get that ball rolling mentally. There'd be somewhere deep down where you're like, "I learned this stuff, and this is what's good." Right?
Yeah,
This is what would be good. Like me investing in my children is good. Me taking them out to sports and being there is good. Me teaching them what I do and being a responsible person will make them respect me more.
but
So therefore, I should do something with my life and study hard or work, drop out of school or like work hard and start a business. You know what I mean? Like there's
like you were saying
because
earlier, though, that's all under the scope of teaching morals. You can't really teach someone morals, as you said earlier. Like,
no, you can teach morals, 100%. And if they don't get it at home, they need to get it somewhere else. Because if they don't get it at home and at school you teach them maths, what the fuck are they going to do with maths? They're going to find what IR squared is and know what area of a circle is.
bro,
And what are they going to
the whole education system, honestly, it's a whole other topic. We can get into that another day. Honestly, the whole education, there is lots to talk about, and there is lots to drill into it about.
essentially what I'm saying is punishing people harder is not going to get, well, it will get what you want, but at an extreme cost.
Yeah.
Like it's not even worth it because you never know. You might be at the end of that stick where someone says you did this, but you didn't actually do it or something, but they have to punish you hard because it's just word of mouth at this point, man. It's like he stole my phone. He's the guy that did it. Now the police investigate.
To
Fucks your
summarize,
whole life. You got to go to fucking court now.
To summarize,
man.
It seems like to summarize, there is no one solution. It is a multiple. There's a multitude of different factors from economic, social, even cultural, environment. All of it has a play on this, and I don't think there's a solution to actually, or not a simple solution to reducing crimes around here. At least
Well, there is solutions, but they're just fucking
it's not
extreme.
easy. Yeah, it's not easy.
It's like literally that movie, fucking Avengers, is talking about that. Like that's literally what Thanos is saying. Like
Thanos.
an Avengers thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like it's there's too much people going on. Let's just kill everyone or kill half a million people, and I guarantee everything will rebalance itself out for X amount of time, and then it is.